Selling is all about how can I get to the checkpoint faster than my competition so that, write this down, your prospect gives you more time. Because selling is a game of minutes. If I can get more time with you than my competition get with you, write in the chat box, who's going to win? Okay? I'm going to win, right? I'm going to win all the time, but I'm going to win more than that guy's going to win, or girl, right? Because selling is a game of minutes. There's a lot of decisions to be made, and I need more time with you. And the more time I have with you, the more I can accomplish things. And so, okay, well, Jason, I don't think you understand. My prospects have a fixed amount of time. They only give me 30 minutes. They only give me an hour. They only give me whatever it is. And I understand. But my question to you is that true? Meaning that, has there ever been a time where they said, hey, I only have 60 minutes, I only have 30 minutes, and you were able to say, do some things that really unlocked something in them that got you to the next checkpoint, that they said, hey, I will move my next meeting that I didn't want to move, but this is really great, and I want to give you another 30 minutes. Raise your hand if you've ever had someone move something because of you. Yes? That's it. Great. Congratulations. You got to the checkpoint. You got to the checkpoint, they gave you more time. Now, who was your competitor? Your competitor was like one of your kids. Your competitor was reckless. Your competitor was rushing to get things done, but they weren't resolving things. They were opening up too many loose ends. They weren't accomplishing and getting the checkpoints they need to accomplish. And so when the 30 minutes was up, they told your competitor, that's it, I got to go. You're not worth any more of my time. Not that you're a bad person. It's just what you did for me in that moment wasn't worth me giving you any more time. And so therefore I need to go make up the time with something else. That's all they're saying. So just own it. Whenever that happens to me, I own it, right? And I really do. I mean, you could ask any of my people in my office, if a person ever says, I've had enough, I got to go, I immediately think, God, what did I do? So what did I do that they did want to spend more time with? What did I say? What did I miss, that I could have done differently? I own that because that's one of the games that I play is, does this person want to spend more time with me? Because they're resolving something, they're learning something, they're getting something out of the experience, they're better off because of it. That's what I'm trying to figure out. But here's the 3 categories, all right? So write this down. These are your 3 checkpoints, like I said. Okay, so the category 1 buyer is called the true just looking buyer. Okay, so this is the buyer that hasn't decided to do something. They haven't decided to make a change. So your goal is to get them to burn the boats. What does that mean? Well, boats comes from a fun story about how Cortez, the great conquistador, was trying to conquer Mexico. And he basically said, hey, none of the other conquistadors had ever conquered Mexico. And so we're either going to conquer Mexico or we're going to die trying. So he said, burn the boats. There's no way out. You can't go back to Spain. So to me, the metaphor there is that your goal with those, in order to get to the checkpoint, right, in order to get to category 2, your goal is to get them to burn the boats, to say, hey, I'm not going back. I'm not going back to Spain, right? I'm going to leave what I currently have. So what does that mean for you? It means that if you're selling financial, some of you are financial advisors on right now. And so they agree. The goal is, right, that they say, I'm going to leave my current bank. I'm going to leave my current lender. I'm going to leave my current financial advisor. I'm going to stop doing financial investing on my own. I'm not going to stop, being responsible for this on my own. I'm definitely going to look at other options that are out there, other choices that are out there. If you're selling remodeling, it's that, yep, I'm definitely I can't live like this anymore. I have to change out my bathroom. It doesn't mean I'm going to outsource it to you. I might do it myself, but I'm definitely going to change my bathroom. I got to do it. I got to do it now. I got to do that. So, or you're selling manufacturing, or you're selling, I'm going to leave my current vendor. You're selling homes. I'm going to leave my current house, right? There's no 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That's not what we're teaching here. What we're selling is about complete resolution, right? So when people make a decision, it comes from the Latin root incision, which means to cut. And so when you make a decision, you're cutting off the other alternatives. So this warriors, this is it. Like, this is a big one that a lot of salespeople miss. A lot of salespeople, what happens is you go, hey, I got a hot one here. And you go, why are they a hot one? Well, they like us because of this. They like our price. They like our terms, but they don't move forward. And we end up finding out that they haven't decided to even make a change yet. In that situation, we're kind of driving like an 8-year-old, right? We're hitting the walls. We're crashing. We're burning. We're respawning. We're never making it to that checkpoint because, again, we're not focusing on how to get to that first checkpoint. That's the most important. The second is a category 2 buyer. A category 2 buyer is the overwhelmed buyer. Okay, overwhelmed, meaning they have a lot of options, right? As soon as someone decides to do something, they're overwhelmed with all the choices that are out there. And so again, now they've decided to do something. It's, who am I going to do it with? What budget am I going to have? Where am I going to do it? I mean, there's so many kind of just new things that happen when they finally decide to do something. And so they become very overwhelmed. So your job is to remove the ambiguity or the indecision, and your job is to chunk it down. If they're like, hey, I'm thinking about living at this location, at the same time I want to spend this, and at the same time I want to do it at this time frame, and I'm also looking at this kind of product, and okay, it's too much, right? So let's focus on one thing at a time. You're overwhelmed. I'm glad you're doing something, but let's figure out what's the next decision we need to make. Let's make one decision at a time. Then last is category 3. The category 3 buyer is the torn buyer. So a torn buyer is the one that's between, ideally, you and you. So it's between you and you, or it's between you and your biggest competitor. So that's kind of the idea here, right? So that's a category 3. And so your job there is to force the compromise and then lead them to a point of resolution. So what are they going to do? Here are the pros and cons of moving forward with us. And here's the pros and cons of moving forward with XYZ competitor. And so what are you going to do? That's it, right? No loose ends. We're not going to talk about this tomorrow. I'm not going to follow up with you. I'm not going to keep bugging you. Just like, what are you going to do? Make a decision. Life's too short to sit on the fence. So that's what this is all about. Is force the compromise. There's no such thing as unicorn, and get them to a point of resolution. But here's the big thing I want you guys to see is that there's no more ABC buyers. There's no more, hot, cold, warm buyers. None of that stuff matters. Why? Because it's all very arbitrary and very subjective. What matters is these 3 categories. Because now if we know what category they're in, now we can apply the appropriate warrior pressure, not aggressive pressure, warrior pressure. Warrior pressure is what category you're in, and I'm going to focus on the outcome, burn the boats, remove ambiguity, chuck it down, force you to compromise, and lead them to a point of resolution. So you first figure out the category, and then I'm going to apply the appropriate strategy, the appropriate protocol that will get me to the next checkpoint. You do that, they have no problem with that. Customers have no problem with you providing warrior pressure for them. What they don't like is they don't like aggressive pressure. And that's when you're telling them all your incentives and all of your same day deals that they get, but they're really a category 1 buyer. See, so a category 3 buyer, they love incentives. They love fear of loss. They love scarcity. They love all that stuff. They love, tell me why I should do it now versus wait. Tell me why I should choose you versus not. Like, that's all great. Those are all great, circumstantial urgency, scare tactics, fear tactics. That's all great. I think that you should use that stuff. I'm going to teach you how to use that stuff. But if you use that stuff up here, you're out of rapport with them, and they will think that you're overly aggressive. They'll think that you're putting on pressure to them, and they'll bail on. They'll get scared. So warrior pressure is, I'm going to be all in on my pressure, but it's going to be based on the category you're in and the decision that you need to make at this moment. If I'm out of rapport and I'm giving you pressure that's in a different area, then that's when it spooks the customer. You crash, you hit the walls, and you don't make a check.